South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, giant logo behind us and our new monitor. Ryan's going to be full of tricks over the next few weeks. Alex, we got a Bookie Friday here on the show. Dwayne Colucci joins us in 10 minutes, and then Vinny Magliulo will make his way down here at about 15 minutes ago on the show.
Excited to talk to both of them, especially Dwayne. We've got some good hockey games on the board tonight, couple of maybe playoff-style hockey games, get his opinion on those. And then, of course, it's always great to see Vinny on a Friday, full slate of baseball. So
yes, all 30 teams in action in baseball today. It's also the final full NBA Friday, so we'll ask Vinny about that later in the show as well. Again, only 3 days to go in the NBA regular season. We already know the 20 teams that will be in the playoff/playing game. There is still a lot to be decided seeding-wise in the Western Conference. Eastern Conference is pretty well set, except for maybe one flipperoonie or two at most. But we'll begin today's show. Dwayne will join us in 10 minutes. Let's start with some hockey here this morning. Alex, after a full Thursday card, a smaller card here on a Friday, but it is a good card here to start your weekend early. And we will begin in New Jersey with the Devils and the Penguins. Even if we don't have a play here again, Penguins already cooked this year. Devils, they're in the 3-hole in the Metro Division. They're going to go to Raleigh when these playoffs start the week after next. Jersey is $1.90 at home here with a total of 6. They're betting the Penguins early in this one. They've also bet this over from 5.5 to 6.
yeah, really not much that the Devils can do, right, seeding-wise or move. So I understand kind of a meaningless game here for the Devils. I have nothing in this one. I think $1.90 is the right price. I actually have them $2 favorite over the Penguins. Been a pretty brutal year for them. Saw an opener at 5.5. Do agree with this move up to 6 for the total.
Penguins missing the playoffs altogether. Again, the Rangers were not KO'd officially yesterday. Neither were the Islanders, for that matter, even though the Rangers put up 9 yesterday. But again, they're all trying to chase the team that's in the next game, and it's the Montreal Canadiens who, look, the Canadiens are still alive to move up to the top wild card spot. They play Ottawa here tonight. Sens are already in. If the Sens win, it's essentially over for Montreal getting up to the top wild card, Alex. The best they can do would be that second wild card. You see the standings there. Washington locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, so it would be a Montreal-Washington series more likely than not. Minus 40 on the Sens, plus 120 on the Canadiens here today.
Initially, I did not have a play on this game. A little bit of a lean to the under, even though I made it right there, 5.5. Not going to jump in, though. Not a difference for me in the total. But I'm looking at the Canadiens in this one. I just wanted to check, though. I think it's been all Montreal this year. So that kind of makes me a little bit nervous, but no Brady Tkachuk for the Senators. And then also, I mean, we've got the Canadiens coming into this game on a 6-game win streak. So that's a good plus price there. Trying to actually clinch their spot for the playoffs. They're going to be highly motivated. I think that's the side, even though I do have Ottawa $1.65 where the books kind of open this number. So lean to the Canadiens. I might fire a little bit on them, plus 120.
Again, both of these teams likely, well, not likely, that would be a big shock if not both of them aren't there. We know Ottawa will be, again, a 6-point lead over Columbus and the Rangers for Montreal. Canadiens with 4 to play, Columbus with 4 to play, Rangers with 3 to play. So really, more so than anything, it's really Columbus and Montreal at this point.
Yep.
2 more wins for the Canadiens, and they will be good and in to the tournament. And boy, it's been a while since we've seen all the Eastern Conference Canadian teams make it into the postseason, where you got to, again, Canadiens a huge favorite to make it right now. So real shot at all of the Eastern Conference Canadian teams. And actually, other than Vancouver, everyone's still pretty much alive for a playoff spot. Vancouver's still alive, but they really would need a lot of help in order to get in with one last game in hand.
Are you feeling a prop bet come along here? You might have to tell Vinny.
What? The U.S. versus Canada? We know what will happen when the playoffs come around. Even though, again, I'm gonna do what I usually do and what I've done the last half decade now. I'm gonna claim that this is the year for Toronto, and then when they inevitably lose in excruciating fashion in round 2. Because I think they'll beat either Montreal or Ottawa in round 1, even though you like the Sens.
I do.
It'll be some excruciating loss in that Atlantic final Eastern Conference semi-pod where they inevitably run into either Tampa or Florida and just lose in just agonizing fashion, more likely than not. And again, that race for the 1 seed in that division is not done yet. Tampa could make up a 3-point lead, a 3-point deficit in 4 games pretty easily. But again, Florida, even with a win last night, is kind of taking the foot off the gas pedal with a little bit of load management, to take a phrase from the NBA, even though Florida, with a comfortable 4-1 victory against Detroit last night. Speaking of Detroit, they continue the Florida 2-step. They'll go to Tampa tonight. Lightning, again, still with a chance to move up and get that number 1 seed in the Atlantic pod. They're huge favorites tonight. $3, Alex, with a total of 6.
I think that that $3 is correct here for Tampa, especially still playing for something, trying to chase down Toronto. I like the over in this game. I have it closer to 6.5 between these two. Looking at their medians on the year, they're both right there at 6, but Tampa really scores at home. Median 4 goals. And play better defense, holding teams to just 2, but 3-3 for the Red Wings on the other side. So it's a lean to the over. I don't know if it's going to make the whiteboard, but even 6, it's a good number too, because maybe a push rather than losing. And I do have a good difference there towards 6.5.
Somehow the $3 favorite's not the biggest one on the board tonight. Alex, minus 410 on Edmonton against San Jose, plus 340. Oilers with a win clinch a playoff spot officially here tonight. And
I don't have them quite that high, minus 350 for me, but 7-game losing streak for the Sharks coming into this one. So if I added in a little bit there, it will be Pickard, though, not Skinner, playing for the Oilers. Stay away for me, nothing in that one.
Sharks with a loss will essentially wrap up the worst point total in the NHL. Chicago, it's actually, in all honesty, for bad teams this year, it feels like there's less like total bottom feeders this year in the NHL. It's just a lot of teams that are just kind of there more so than anything. Only 3 teams sub 70 points right now.
Yeah.
San Jose and Chicago have clinched San Jose's clinched being sub 60. Chicago probably will likely end up there or just barely getting to 60. And then the Preds, who had the season from hell.
Oh, my God.
The only other team sub 70. They could still get to 70. But, boy, I mean, Preds, with that huge money offseason, expected to be a legitimate Western Conference threat. 29, 42, and 8 and 66 points. Big old yikes in Music City this year for the Preds.
Definitely a disappointment there. I will say for Chicago and San Jose, seeing the young players, and that's why I think they aren't such bottom feeders, right? That their first round picks the last couple of years have been playing really good and are fun to watch. So maybe in a few years.
San Jose's just bad. I think we could just say it as is. And the Blackhawks, Bedard had a little bit of a slump, more so than anything.
Yeah.
I would imagine that Chicago will be improved next year. All right, last one on the board in the NHL, Calgary and Minnesota. The game that's actually, Ryan, if you want to do it, right behind us here this morning. There you go. He did take the Minnesota North Star version of the Wild jersey, and then, boy, those flame jerseys are, for lack of a better word, fire. There we go. See what I did there? Flames minus 125, or excuse me, minus 125 on Minnesota on the road here, plus 105 on Calgary at home. 5.5 was juiced even more to the over earlier, but that juice has moved down 10 cents.
Last game from the rotation order and best game of the night here between these two. Flames have not clinched the playoff spot yet. It's still chasing the Blues, really, and I guess even the Wild. Both of them are tied at 93, so I think we're going to get their best effort still in this one with an outside shot to make it in there. I love the under. I made this total 5, so minus 105 on 5.5. I think that's a great price here. I trust both of these goalies. It will be Dustin Wolf, though, for the Flames in this one. But another thing is that plus money with the Flames at home is very tempting as well. So under is the best bet. I've been betting the Flames at home all year long. 2012 and 6 is that record compared to 17, 15, and 8 on the road. So much better at home, comfortable there. I think I'm going to take a little bit of that plus 105, but under 5.5 is the play.
Alex, real quick, just as we approach the final 2 weeks of the NHL season, you've mentioned Ottawa as a potential dark horse in the Eastern Conference. What else would we be looking at here? Obviously, right now, there's really no decided favorite in the futures market. 7-1 is the shortest number on the board, and that's, again, Edmonton and Colorado, Florida, 6-1, I should say, is the shortest shot on the board. And then Colorado and Edmonton at 7-1, Vegas and Dallas at 8-1. Plus 750 on Carolina. Is there anything that you would look at here? Tampa also short of 10-1 as well.
So I do like the Senators because they have Allmark. They have the goalie. Brady Tkachuk, I said, is sitting out tonight, but they've got a guy that is highly motivated, especially after that Four Nations that we saw earlier this year. So dark horse in the East, but I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win the East. Western Conference, I think there's a ton of value on Vegas. I think that all the attention has been to Dallas and Colorado since the trade deadline, and for good reason. I think they picked up really good pieces. I just don't think it's meshed well. Dallas, I hate this saying, but until they do it, right? So Vegas has the experience. They've been there. They're coming into good form right now. Dallas and Colorado probably have to play each other in the first round, which will be a huge help for both Winnipeg and Vegas. I do think the Jets are totally disrespected, 10-1. They've been one of the best teams all year, so consistent, but everybody's worried about Hellebuck in the big moment. I can understand that. That would be the other team I would look at, though, in the West, Winnipeg and Vegas.
Hey, Winnipeg's going to have home ice throughout the Western Conference playoffs. But I'm with you. It just kind of feels like this Knights team, I don't know if they're better than the Cup team that won 2 years ago. But this is, again, a Western Conference that feels a little bit down, more so than anything. Winnipeg, obviously, had plenty of problems in the playoffs in the past. Dallas has gotten to the final. And granted, that was 2020 now, so we're looking a ways back. Avs, of course, have won in this era with a relatively similar roster except for the goaltending. Again, the East. I'm gonna just say what I said before. If we're going off of talent, the Leafs should have 3 cups already.
Yeah.
But again, they're the Leafs. Their goaltending normally fails. Some sort of idiocy befalls them and has over the last 60 years at this rate. But again, I don't buy the 1 seed in the East. I don't buy Washington in the playoffs. Florida, they have played so much hockey over the last 3 years now. Made the Cup final 2 years ago, won it last year. Do you have the stamina to sustain a 3rd Cup final run? That's really, really tough. And then we've talked about Carolina. I mean, Carolina traded their best player because they couldn't get him under contract.
Yep.
He's now in Dallas.
Yep.
And we've had questions with Carolina's goaltending over the years. I'm talking myself into a Vegas-Toronto final, aren't I? That's what I'm talking. Boy, could you imagine that? Could you imagine that ticket if we get that? Ooh.
You didn't mention Washington, though.
I don't buy them. That was the top. That was the top seed.
That was the top one.
I don't buy them for playoff success. They've just had this magic carpet ride year. Thompson, I think, has played over his head personally, and again, we know upsets happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs more than any other league. So it'll be a look at again at 12-1 on Toronto. 8-1 on Vegas. I think those, at least at South Point numbers, and chop around obviously would be the 2 best ones for me.
I will say with Toronto, I like the style of play this year that's been a little bit different because in the past it was just, skating fast, scoring goals, giving up goals, right? And this year they've really been more defensive focused. So I do think that helps them on this run in the playoffs. But Eastern Conference is hard. I mean, there's just so much experience there and such good coaches between Tampa Bay and Florida that they'll have to run into. But I also do like Washington. I mean, they're like Winnipeg. They've been really consistent all year in scoring and, holding opponents. So we'll see. We'll see how Logan Thompson does do when it comes down to playoff time.
All right, let's take a few-minute break. When we get back, we'll get Dwayne Colucci on the other side, get his thoughts on the NHL and much, much more. We get back. Sports by the Book here on a Friday morning.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book here at the South Point. Jeff Parles, Alex White, and now joining us from north of where we are. You take 215 up to Summerlin Parkway and get off Rampart Boulevard, and our good friend Dwayne Colucci just going to be waiting right there for you, right at the front door. Right, Dwayne?
With a bucket. We'll work for change.
Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart, our good friend Dwayne Colucci right now. Dwayne, good morning. It's good to have you as always.
Great to join you guys on the new studio set. Beautiful looking, definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah, we will never be confused for last names now because you just see them above our heads. At least when Alex and I are on the desk here, Dwayne. So,
That's good.
Dwayne, we got about a week plus left in the hockey regular season. And I'm just curious, we were just having a discussion, kind of talking through it of where to look in the futures book right now. I know you were connecting I brought up Toronto, which we know how that will probably.
Forget that.
Yeah,
Are you out of your mind?
See, I knew
Jeff,
that. I knew
after
that.
all these years, how could you even? I mean, that's like you wouldn't even get true value. You could never get true value. They'd have to be like 500 to 1 for you to actually make up for all the money that this team has cost, all their backers and all their people. And, you know, it's not that they don't have a fabulous roster, I mean, but they can't win in the playoffs. I don't get it.
I couldn't even get through my my line, which was going to be a self-deprecation line. But
it's almost like saying the Knicks.
So,
future bet.
Knicks have won more recently than the Leafs, as we know. So,
yes, yeah.
But Dwayne, the other one that Alex and I both gravitated towards was the hometown team here, the Vegas Golden Knights, where looks like the run to the Cup, at least the West Final, would be a little bit easier than Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, because they're all going to have to play each other in that central pod. Right now, 8-1 to win the Cup on the Golden Knights right now, Dwayne.
Yeah, I'm kind of skeptical. I mean, the goaltending is horrible right now. I wish Aiden Hill would just step it up a little bit. Defense is suspect. Offense disappears at times. I mean, now a couple of the players are falling ill or just resting, hopefully, and getting ready for the playoff drive. I mean, it's great to play in the Fortress, don't get me wrong, but, you always, you could shop around and get better value because if you bet on the Vegas Golden Knights in Las Vegas, you're definitely losing a couple of ticks, on the odds because just the ticket count is always immense here at the Rampart and South Point. But, that's still a difficult road. Look at all the teams that are surrounding them. When you look at the odds to win the Stanley Cup, Dallas, Colorado, Edmonton, Kings, Jets, Wild, Blues, these are all, very tough battle-tested teams. And the Blues, they won, 12 out of 14. Don't sell short on them. They have a great goaltender in Jordan Binnington. And even the two games that they lost were highly competitive. Colorado, you have to watch the status of McKinnon. He was banged up a little the last couple of games, but I'm sure he'll be healthy for the playoff drive. And McDavid and Draisaitl are still going to be there, barring injury. I watched a couple of games. I'm a season ticket holder. Mm-hmm. I've attended some, games recently, and, they just don't have that flair. The Kings, manhandled them a couple of weeks back. Then I was at the game against Winnipeg, and they lost to Comrie. Hellebuck wasn't even between the pipes, and they got totally shut down. So, Vegas has a lot to do. They have to rectify that offense. They have to get it clicking. They have to get the power play going. And they definitely need, the veteran leadership, the Mark Stones, the Petros, to take this team and, teach the younger guys and let them know this is the playoffs now. And, Hurdle will be coming back. That's definitely a confidence booster. He's played fabulous. He's been the Vegas Golden Knights' best goal scorer other than Jack Eichel on the ice. So it'll be interesting to see how this format plays out. We do have home ice here, so that is an advantage, Jeff. But it's going to be very difficult for the Vegas Golden Knights to hoist the Stanley Cup, in my opinion.
Dwayne, looking at the schedule today, 5 games on the board. One of them really jumped out. I couldn't wait to talk to you about it. Canadiens come into this one winning 6 in a row in Ottawa, facing the Senators. Now, we're still waiting for Montreal to actually clinch their playoff spot. I looked at the season record between these two. It's been all Canadiens, 3-0 against the Sens. Is this another good spot to jump in on them, plus 120?
Alex, they're hungry. I mean, I haven't seen them this hungry in years. And, now we signed Ivan Demidov, which is a huge acquisition. I mean, this kid led the KHL in rookie scoring. I think he broke the KHL rookie scoring record. And now you add him with Cole Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Nick Suzuki, just playing fabulous. Samuel Montembeault has been unbelievable. You look at his stats. He has a goals against under 2 in his last, 7 starts. So they're getting excellent play from the core. Cole Caulfield, and amazing. He's in top 10 in goal scoring in the NHL. And they have so many players like Alex Newhook that just, they show up. And we didn't even talk about the Calder winner, Lane Hudson, in my opinion. I mean, this kid skates at an unbelievable level, Alex. And I was listening to Chris Chelios the other night, and he was giving Hudson all the accolades. He said he actually, he was in the same position as Hudson was to break the rookie assist record and defenseman scoring record. And he said, he put it on himself. He goes, I got really cold in those last 9 games and I wasn't able to do it. Let's see what Lane Hudson could do. But I haven't seen a defenseman skate like this kid in about 20 to 30 years. I mean, just fabulous. Going back to the Larry Robinsons, the Rod Langways that Montreal had and produced, this kid could be really something special. This is a great game tonight. I mean, both of the teams that are in the wild card race, Montreal wants to clinch, get it out of the way. The Rangers got to win. Columbus got to win the other night, but they're still, 6-7 points behind. Let's keep an eye on that. I think Montreal will get the job done tonight, and definitely it's going to be a tough game, though. Ottawa will get up for it. Kachuk will be up for it. You know how that is, Alex. So, that's why you're only seeing at the Rampart and South Point, Ottawa minus 140, because the Canadiens are 3-0 against them this year. Montreal traveling on the road. Let's see if Demidov suits up. I don't know if he'll be right in the lineup, but you had to see the contingency in Montreal to greet this kid. I mean, you would think this was Alex Ovechkin reincarnated, and it might be. And if this kid could just step right in, Montreal's going to be a dangerous out in the first round of the playoffs, guys.
Dwayne, I just want to pivot back real quick because you said no to Toronto before I even finished my sentence. Not buying the Knights. From a futures perspective, who's the look right now? Is it a Winnipeg finally potentially busting through, or Carolina on the east side? Who would you look at in a futures market right now in the NHL?
I would definitely look at value, Jeff. I mean, Colorado, if you bet them a little earlier in the season, there was tremendous value. Now it's come back down to earth. I think there's definitely some value there. Florida, Carolina, they're very tough teams. Let's keep that in mind. Even though Carolina blew that game in Washington also, you see 10-1, they definitely have a chance. They're resting Ovechkin now, and they're going to ride into the playoffs very strong. They have a good goaltender tandem. Keep your eye on this. Wilson is playing at an exceptional level, probably the best hockey of his career. So, I definitely think Washington has a chance. If you're looking for a bomber, Montreal does have an outside chance if they could get this whole roster, starting to play together. But I definitely think those are the teams. It's so tough. Also, Tampa, I like the teams that have a lot of experience in the playoffs, and Colorado, Tampa, these teams have a lot of experience. Florida, Stanley Cup winner. So, I think the West is really going to beat each other other up. I mean, look at all these top teams, and they all play at an exceptional level. You could see the drop-off from the top. There's so many teams with 100 points in the Western Conference, and then the drop-off is just tremendous, whereas the East is pretty tight, and jumbled with the points. So, the West is definitely going to be tough to come out of, and they might be banged up coming into a series if you're playing a team like Florida or Washington in the finals. So, there is some value with the Capitals. Panthers definitely are going to be hungry. They're a tough out. They're such a well-rounded team. It's just, can Bobrovsky handle all the playoff pressure? You don't have Spencer Knight backing him up anymore. So it could become a little more difficult if you're counting on him night after night. Carolina, like I said, they blew that game in Washington with a 2-0 lead last night. They were a big favorite in Washington because Washington was sitting a lot of players. But keep your eye on the Capitals. They're dangerous. Alex definitely would love to have another cup, and he would love to hoist it out here in Vegas again. It would be an interesting final if that ever reoccurred.
Moving to baseball here, Dwayne, I'm going to start with a Los Angeles team, not your LA team, though. I want to talk about the Angels, and Jeff and I talked about them yesterday a little bit and just what they've done to start the season. They're third right now in home runs behind the Dodgers and Yankees. They're fourth in saves. Yesterday, 11-1 win over Tampa Bay to finish that series. Now they go to Houston. Are you buying this Angels team, or you think we'll see them come back down to earth?
I think they'll come back down to earth, Alex. I don't know if they have the whole roster that could compete throughout the year. They're getting good bullpen action, like you said, hitting a lot of home runs, but that's because they're facing inadequate pitching right now. So, you're seeing this line today. I think they definitely will come back down to earth. They're not getting much. You're only seeing a plus 125. So I think Houston is at a discount in this spot. Also, I'd be looking to possibly lay the run line, Alex, in this spot. I'm just not sold on the Angels. Time and time again, they go on these winning streaks. Then all of a sudden, you're watching, you're watching the regular season, and they'll lose 12 out of 14. So, not that Houston is all that great. Astros minus 140 at the Rampart in South Point. This is a very difficult game to handicap. I probably would lay off, but I'd be looking at Houston if I had to bet it.
Dwayne, I just want to ask you about the Sacramento A's ballpark right now, where the first few handful of games totals were 8.5, blew through it. Then we get the higher total, and the game, of course, lands 3 runs the other day. Now tonight, with Griffin Canning and Jack Sears going tonight, Canning for the Mets and Sears for the Athletics. We're at 9.5 here at the South Point, and there's some 10s out there as well. Is it just been a lot of blind action on the over here with how it started, and now we may just start seeing some unders here because these numbers are starting to normalize?
Yeah, probably, Jeff. I mean, I think we might see some unders right here because the Mets have an excellent pitching staff and they don't score a lot of runs. The Athletics are 1-5 at home, so this is a good spot for the Mets. I think it's kind of a discount at minus 130. The Mets are going to start to play at a high level. Lindor got off to a slow start. Soto isn't, crushing like everybody perceived to start, like Aaron Judge is doing for the Yankees, but it will start to happen. The Mets are a much better team than this A's team. You're playing in a sandlot outfield. Very tough for us as bookmakers to make these lines. You have to read into the pitching, how long. The bullpen stats are very important when you're dealing with the Athletics, especially when they're at home playing in this smaller field. I think this is a good situation for the Mets to right the ship. Minus 130 on the road, I'd lay that all day. I think the Mets bats are going to come alive, especially Pete Alonso. Now you watch. They're definitely going to start to stroke, and this is perfect.
Dwayne, any other games jump out to you today? We've got everybody in action at small card yesterday, or just overall, any takes from baseball to start the season?
Yeah, it was surprising that, the NL West is going to be hugely competitive this year, Alex, and keep your eye on that. You have a lot of talent on all these teams, whether it's San Diego, whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's the Giants, Arizona. They're all, stacked and have a lot of talent. I think the Dodgers need to win some games right now, open up that lead if they can, and this is a perfect spot today. The Cubs, they beat the crap out of them in Japan, and I think that could definitely continue, especially in Chavez Ravine. Dodgers have an unbelievable lineup. Mookie Betts is definitely, it's good to see that he's healthy. That was going into the regular season. That was very scary when you have a parasite. You start losing 20, 30 pounds. You start to get scared. Then Kiki Hernandez had some health issues. Now they're starting to get healthy. I think the Dodgers could definitely win this series easily. I hate laying 190, though. I'm not a big favorite player like that. There's very limited value, but I'm looking at the Dodgers to start to go on a winning streak now. They have to play at a highly competitive level because San Diego's going to be there barring injury. And like I said, the Giants, Arizona, anybody is capable. At one point, the Dodgers were in third place this week. So let's keep an eye on this Dodger team. They haven't played all that well, losing games to Washington, losing games to Philly. They have to get on the right path, and definitely at home against the Cubs is a great formula, Alex.
Dwayne, I want to go to some basketball real quick in the NBA because we're down to the final few days of the year. Again, this really feels like to most that we're on a collision, and we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago, a collision with Boston and Oklahoma City eventually meeting up in the NBA Finals. I know it's weird to say with a Cleveland team that's won 63 games so far, but do you see a path for something other than a Boston-Oklahoma City? Can the Lakers spring a huge upset? Can Cleveland spring an upset? What's the way that the path to Oklahoma City-Boston gets knocked off the tracks?
The Celtics are the toughest team. You could see that. I mean, that game in Madison Square Garden the other day was tremendous. I mean, how they were able to beat my Knicks. And it's so disappointing. I mean, year after year, Tom Thibodeau gets out-coached coming down the stretch against this Boston Celtic team. And, ever since the trade of Quickly and R.J. Barrett, those guys actually played exceptionally well against the Celtics. And that's what you need. And now you don't have that. You have OG Anunoby, who played great. Don't get me wrong, when Brunson was hurt, but now he changes the look of the whole offense, and now everything facilitates through Brunson again, and you're back to losing against the Celtics. So, I mean, Cleveland would have to do a lot to beat this Boston team. Now, on the Western side, any team with LeBron James and Luka Doncic could win at any time. Luka is a monster, and if he wants to start pouring in points, that could easily happen. You got to understand, OKC is the best regular season team. They have more than 50 wins by 10 points or more, but let's see them transpire that into playoff victories. This is a very, very young team. I have future wages on another young team, the Houston Rockets. I think they're very competitive, but the play-in scenario is so jumbled right now. I mean, you have all these teams tied, right, and running neck and neck like it's a horse race, basically, and it's going to be very, very difficult to see who comes out of the West and just say, oh, OKC is coming out. Well, yeah, according to the regular season stats, but the regular season doesn't always transpire into an NBA championship. Keep that in mind. The West is stacked. So even their first round matchup is going to be very difficult if they play, say, the Timberwolves or something like that. So, I think the Celtics are a shoo-in, but the West is still kind of jumbled. The Cavaliers would have to have a tremendous series to beat the Celtics, and it's possible. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. This team is so well coached. They played well the whole season. Like you said, Jeff, a total shock having 60 victories, but I still think the Celtics, they've been there. They've done that. You see how Tatum and Brown play together. You mix it in with Kristaps and Holiday. It's just a great, great championship team. And I think they're poised to make another championship run, barring any injury coming down the stretch.
I do like that Houston Rockets ticket that you have, though, Dwayne. I do think that they have a shot for the West. Let's go to Augusta here. Day 2 for the Masters. Justin Rose, 9 under. He is the leader, and DeChambeau having a great day as well. Of course, Scotty Scheffler about to tee off here. How has the handle been for the Masters with your matchups daily and overall? And do you have any tickets going into Sunday?
I'll be honest with you, Alex. I'm not a big golf wagerer. I mean, the handle was off the hook at the Rampart and South Point. We're right here with the TPC at the the Rampart, and it's a beautiful surrounding. But no, I did not bet any futures, but I'm looking at the board, and we've had tremendous action. We adjust the lines. We have each round matchups. The handle has been so incredible. I mean, the ticket count on some of these golfers, Rory McIlroy's ticket count was amazing. Aberg, he was one of those guys that the sharps were pounding, and, I saw him up there on the leaderboard earlier in the first day. Like you said, now it's starting to play out. Rose has the lead, I believe, by 2 strokes. So we're going to see how, it plays out. Hovland is one of the golfers that we have a liability on, Tony Finau, but Chris handled it perfectly. We're sitting pretty right now with a great handle. We put this up almost for a year, Alex. Yeah. So it comes from all angles. We have a lot of patrons that stay here to play golf, and then they bet the futures. So yeah, the handle is off the hook. Day by day, people are clamoring for the matchups for the next round, and we put them out later this afternoon, and we'll keep an eye on this tournament. The Masters is always a focal tournament. We have great golf handle and tremendous golf action at the Rampart and South Point. Always look forward to the big tournaments, whether it's, the Masters, the Open, the U.S. Open. It's tremendous handle.
He's Dwayne Colucci. Go visit him up at the Rampart, NYBookie Dwayne on the tweets. Of course, he runs the Race and Sportsbook up there. But actually, before we let you go, because I just reminded myself by saying the word race, Dwayne, anything for the weekend in horse racing ahead for you?
I'll be honest with you, Jeff. Most of the big races and preps have taken place, so really not much going on this weekend as of yet. Santa Anita is dark for a week and a half. They're taking a little break. I'm going to get geared up for Churchill. Carl Spackler is running today at Keeneland. Keep an eye on that horse. Tremendous turf horse. Definitely, be a short price, but keep that in mind. Great horse, and returning for the first time this year since the Breeders' Cup, and definitely looking for a championship campaign for all you Caddyshack fans out there. You know who Carl Spackler is. So this horse definitely is going to win today at Keeneland. Keep an eye on that. I'm seeing some adverse weather at Aqueduct. Looking forward for the turf meet at Aqueduct as they open the turf course now. Turf racing is where you can find the prices, guys. If you're handicapping on horses, definitely turf pedigree and turf racing has larger fields. You get more value on the greatest sport in the sport of kings, basically. I don't want to say the greatest sport in the world, but it is one of my top favorites, and it is the sport of kings. So keep your eye on that and call Spackler today.
Dwayne, thank you as always. We will catch up with you again next week.
Definitely. I appreciate you guys having me on. And, the new studio is fabulous. This is the best sports betting network and show, period. These are the bookmakers that come straight from us, whether it's me, Chris, and then we have the experts like Alex, her father. It's just unbelievable. Mix in Eddie Olczyk once in a while, forget about it. The best.
Dwayne Colucci, everyone, Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart. All right, we're going to
Thanks, Ryan. I heard Ryan back there.
He got through. He got through. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we go from one Italian to another. Vinny Magliulo will join us next right here, Sports by the Book, here at the South Point.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style Paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, and whoa, Vinny Magliulo on set.
That's right. It's Italian Friday.
See,
right.
for behind Vinny, we have the old Barbary Coast jersey behind Vinny. Look at that. And
Yeah.
also the Roberto Clemente jersey in the corner, which I would imagine got brought by Mr. Andrews more so than anything.
Oh, definitely.
I'd say so.
Definitely. Greatest right fielder I ever saw, by the way.
Greatest arm you've ever seen in the outfield?
Greatest arm. I saw him on the fly on a laser from the warning track at Shea Stadium, nail Mets for fun. And also one of the best opposite field hitters that I ever saw. Roberto was great. Left us way too soon.
Yeah, definitely. So, Vinny, first, before we have Alex has a bunch of baseball she likes today that we'll rattle through in a minute, but just to kick it off with, now we've been 2.5 weeks, give or take.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball season. How's the handle been? How have people been betting it? Any other takeaways you may have early goings?
Yeah, I think, still. I mean, obviously the NCAA tournament was front and center, right? And for the month of March and right up until the Final Four, particularly with the success that the favorites had and all 4 number 1 seeds making it to the final weekend, definitely was the focus of the betting. I think what's helped the baseball is the fact that there's so many day games. Right, I think that's what, and that from our perspective is good also, because especially when you get a day like today, let's say, where the Masters is certainly a big focus, but when you've got games starting before 4:00 today, that just kind of gives a nice, a nice blend for everybody. So, baseball it'll pick up as we get into this, once it becomes the focus. But now the focus is, it went from the NCAA tournament, Final Four, to the Masters, to we'll get, this is the final weekend of the NBA, and we'll get into the NBA play-in and then playoffs, and then, of course, next week, the NHL playoffs. But the fact that baseball has a lot of day games this time of year is definitely a good balance for us, and the handle's been just good, just fine.
Let's go into today. Let's hit it, Alex. Let's start with an NL Central matchup in the Queen City of Cincinnati here today. The Reds taking on the Buccos. It's Falter, it's Singer, it's the battle of the Bradys in this one. Minus 50 on the Reds, 8.5 on this one with it is NL Central matchup at Great American.
I went under in this, under 8.5 for these two. I know Falter's not the Pirates' best pitcher or one of their best pitchers, but the Reds have struggled against lefties. So even though they're coming off a good series, played the Giants very well both times this year, I think that we're going to see their offense slow down a little bit here in this one. Brady Singer, great pickup for the Reds. So I think you're getting some value. It's a pretty high total there at 8.5 for these two.
And you got a good number. Alex's game was at one time 8. So if you went under 8.5, good shopping.
Yeah, they're still readily available 8.5 if you wanted. It actually is juiced to that under 8.5 at minus 15. There's also if you want to go against Alex, which I would not recommend, you can get it. You can get an 8 available as well. You could, if it gets to 9, Alex, you could have some fun with locking stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not really in that that ballpark to say the least. All right, we go to Apologies, there's no request for Nats Marlins, so we'll skip over that. We don't have a play on that.
A little bit of a lean to the Nats, if we can trust Mitchell Parker there, with the Marlins winning that last game against the Mets, right? And they go back home. So
Nats a small road favorite there, minus 115.
I think that's a pretty good price.
Minus a quarter on the overnight, so you're going to lay the better price. Yeah.
I bet Miami.
I'm not going to go against that team then.
Then we get Philly and St. Louis. Aaron Nola, Andre Palante, the matchup at Busch. 7.5 on the total here, Alex. Philly, they're all over St. Louis in this game. From $1.35 on Philly to now only minus 115 on the Phillies in this game.
Makes sense, right, Vinny? Because last night the Phillies and the Braves played a really late game. So I saw instantly the opposing teams were being bet last night. So the Cardinals coming in here. I like the over in this one. I hope that the Phillies bats can stay awake even after that late game yesterday. But I think they can. I think they can get to Palante. So kind of against the market. Again, I saw 8s. Now it's 7.5 here at the South Point. So I really like that. It's a big enough difference for me. I know Aaron Nola, top pitcher going today, but he's definitely given up some runs. His ERA already is a 6.35. So I think we're going to get some offense. And the Cardinals have been, besides against the Reds, they have been hitting this year. So expect them to help out here. Let me see what second best batting average so far on the year, 4th in runs batted in.
Alex, you bring up a good point and an important point. Pay attention to what happens the night before. Now, sometimes you're going to have teams double back, right? And then you're going to see some significant lineup adjustments. Not so much here, but if they went later, if there was a rain delay, weather, whatever the case may be, you want to follow and pay attention to what happened in the night before. The results of the night before games, and then see what kind of adjustments, especially lineup adjustments. And there's a game here that's already moved 20 cents to the home team. So good point. And as we get into the season, that's going to become more of a factor too, particularly with getaway days, right? And from Wednesday to Thursday.
Yep.
Moving along. Alex, nothing on Padres Rockies with Marquez and Pivetta. Pods are huge favorites, $2 at home. We don't have a starting pitcher still with the Brewers, which is interesting. Diamondbacks minus 155 favorites at home with Eduardo Rodriguez tonight with a total of 9. Dodgers host the Cubs. I know it's April 11th, but there was 2 betting favorites to win their divisions. Maybe we see this matchup down the road. $1.90 tonight, Alex. Dean asked about this one on Yamamoto and the Dodgers. Matt Boyd goes for the Northsiders plus 70 out of Chavez Ravine tonight with a total of 8.
I'm curious what Vinny thinks of this, but I think that Dodgers number is a little bit steep. I mean, the Cubs have been playing really good, and the fact that this will be the second time they're seeing Yamamoto this year, I mean, I think there's some value there with that plus price and the Cubs, but I have not jumped in yet.
Big public side here in the Dodgers, Alex, especially, what'll determine this number. I think you may see it come down early, but if you're looking to bet the Cubs, you may want to wait until later. I mean, obviously, this is the West Coast game. This is the late game of the night at 7:10 Pacific. Public will be all over. And I know we got a huge Dodger following. So the likelihood of not only the Dodgers getting straight-up support, but are going to be in a lot of parlays and will be carryover going to it. If you're going to bet the Cubs, you're probably going to get a better price as we get further into the afternoon.
Of course, as you mentioned, Alex, these 2 teams met in Tokyo last month. Yamamoto pitched pretty well that first go around. Now, of course, was a game Imanaga had a no-hitter and then was removed early in that one. Dodgers, of course, swept both games in Japan. Go to Cleveland next. Bibee and Bubic for this one with the Royals and the Guardians. They're betting Kansas City here today after initial move to Cleveland. So opened minus 35 on the Guards, plus 120 on the Royals. Went up 10 cents, and now has moved 20 cents the other direction. Guards minus 25 at home, plus 10 on the Royals on the take-back, Alex.
I think those numbers are fair here with both pitchers. And I can understand, though, with Chris Bubic to kind of trust him and take that plus price. And the Royals have been playing good. I know, Jeff, this is not one of your favorite matchups here on the board between these two. And
It did not for AL Central. This one doesn't offend me too much.
So these ones are okay.
No
yeah.
White Sox, which is the important thing, right?
You know, the Royals have been building, right, in the last couple of years, getting a lot of, when they made some moves a few years ago to develop in players. Guardians trying to find their footing, especially after last year's playoffs. And then, of course, Detroit. So it looks like a three-team race, and these are the two of the three, along with the Tigers, and they're all very close to. They're within a game or a half game of each other in the standings. I think that's why. And these games here, when it comes to the standings, these are straight-up games that are going to bear out as the season goes on. And again, pay attention to the heads-up play within the division, because that's what's going to really, it's very early now, but as the season progresses, watch how these matchups play out.
Going to Baltimore next, second matchup for the Orioles and the Blue Jays. Francis and Sugano, your pitching matchup here. Sugano, the import from Japan, has pitched pretty well his last time out. 35-year-old, minus 25 on the O's. The total's been the fun one here. Open 8.5, juiced under. Got bet to 8, back to 8.5, and now has been a run to take the under here. Now at 8 flat on both sides here in this one.
Nothing for me really jumped outside or total in this one. I guess one thing that I was kind of thinking is it seems like a pretty cheap price on the Orioles, minus 125. Toronto was 10-1 to win that division to start the season, and now they have been playing really good.
Yeah.
So now the Orioles just minus 125 at home. Pretty even pitching matchup, I believe, between these two. So if anything, I'd look to the favorite in this one.
Yeah, watch the weather, right? There's supposed to be some spring snow in the mid-Atlantic to northeast part of the country. So this one, you want to take a close look at the weather, and definitely it'll be impactful, probably for the total, right? But who are the Blue Jays, right? They get swept by the Mets, then they almost swept the Red Sox. The Red Sox saved yesterday's game in extra innings.
Yep.
So one thing we know about the Jays, they can hit the ball. So Orioles still trying to find their footing.
Yep.
Let's go to Alex's favorite team so far this year, the Los Angeles Angels, on the road in Houston. Here, Angels are off to an 8-4 start.
Yeah.
The Angels had half of the home runs hit in baseball yesterday. They hit 6 of the 12 that were hit across the league yesterday. Not much was expected of this team, as we know. Off to a good start. It's now $1.25 on them, which this is where this opened, but initial money was on Houston. Back to the openers now, minus 40 on the Astros, plus 125 on the Angels. Alex, 8.5 on the total here.
You scared me because you did skip one game, luckily, because I was like, is the White Sox or the Red Sox my favorite team? But neither of those. It is the Angels. I'm gonna go with the Angels again. I had them plus money yesterday. I took them plus 130 today. Why not? Houston's kind of struggling with their new lineup here to really put some consecutive hits together. So as I mentioned with Dwayne, Angels have the third most home runs, fourth most saves, really getting it done in the bullpen. I'm going to go full game here. So I still like that plus 125 as well.
Yeah, Alex brings up a good point about the revised lineup with the Astros, and then the Angels just playing loose, playing good, hitting the ball, scoring runs. So there's definitely value there at plus a quarter.
And then one more AL only game I want to hit. I want to go to Seattle because Vinny, we now get the ridiculously low total here. DeGrom and Miller tonight. DeGrom's at minus 20 favored, but a total of 6.5. And we're going to see a lot of these this year in Seattle. We already have.
Yeah, not a real surprise, right? But it always starts with the matchup, the pitching matchup, and then of course the ballpark. So and again, 6.5. We did open it shaded to the over, and they did lay the 15 and went to minus 20 on the over. Look, it's still a baseball. It's hard to bet under. Now, if this was Bob Gibson and Koufax, then certainly 6.5 would be high. But when you look at these games here, particularly with the DH now and no hitters, no pitchers hitting anymore. So I think we'll continue to see money come in on the over, but not a shock given the matchup and the ballpark that this is the lowest total on the board today.
Yeah, really nothing in that one.
Now we go to the interleague games. Alex has a look in two of these three, and then the last one has been requested multiple times already on the chat. Braves and Rays. Elder and Bradley. Alex, you mentioned it. Braves and Phillies. I don't know why they continued that game last night. Philly only goes there another time, so they could have waited instead of playing deep into the night there in Cobb County. 135 on the Rays, favored at home, and Alex, we're looking to fade the team that had to get in very, very late last night.
I am, and I know it was an easy flight there, but with Elder on the mound as well, I like how this Rays team has been playing. I was looking at the full game over, kind of like I took with Phillies, which I'm expecting them to help out with my total, but Rays team total 4.5. I got it at even money. I don't know if that went down at all, but I'd still be okay at minus 110, of course. So I like just the Rays team total going up against Elder here. Is it his first start of the year? No.
No, he started last week.
Yes. Okay. So second, but.
Yeah, 15-cent move to the Rays here, and I think it's going to continue. And the Braves just not look. We know they went through some transition right in the off season, still trying to develop a lot of their young talent, and I think that as the season goes on, they'll get better. But as things stand right now, not a real surprise given the late result of the Braves and Phillies last night. Rays sitting there waiting. This move will continue, I think.
I'm sure they are happy that they continued that game, though,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
With a nice walk-off.
For sure. Any win is important right now for Atlanta to not get too far behind the 8 ball early in the year. Yankees and Giants. Robbie Ray, Marcus Stroman, up to $1.30 on the Bronx Bombers at home with a total of 8 in this one, Alex.
I can't believe I'm taking Stroman here, but they are at home. I like the Yankees. I do like Robbie Ray on the other side, but I think using the full game here, I think this is a very cheap price on the Yankees, minus 130. I think they should be closer to $1.70. So I am going to take the Yankees as my favorite of the day.
Even with the Giants being an early season surprise, the Yankees, 15-cent move to the Yankees so far. This is another one that I think we'll see continue to go in favor of the Yankees. Yeah. Yankees and Dodgers will be in the majority of parlays today. There's no question about it.
Then the last one, the one that's been requested a lot, and it's because of the total, the discussion we had a little bit with Dwayne earlier, and Vinny, we'll bring it to you, Mets and A's. Minus 30 on the Mets, plus 115 on the Athletics, 9.5. Now, Vinny, you guys were dishing 8.5 through the first few games in Sacramento. They went zooming over.
Way over.
Then total went up 2 days ago. Got a 2-1 game because, of course, we did. And now with, again, Sears has good stuff. Canning is a back-end starter for the Mets. We see a consistent 9.5 across the board. There's even a 10 out there right now.
Yeah, and I look, even with the Mets hitting woes, I mean, they've, at one game that really where their bats opened up. At some point, it's going to happen. This is a ballpark that it could happen in.
Yeah.
And when you look at the majority of the A's games that are taking place there, particularly the opposition has really benefited from it. So, this one, even with the Mets' poor hitting so far overall, you got a minor league park here that's going to really have to. And two pitchers really, when you look at it, this is a hitter's ballpark. And given the pitching matchup, you're going to see the perception is you'll see runs scored.
Mets team total 5.5 plus 110 if we think that they can use this as a get right spot here in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Big number.
Yeah,
it is.
At that 5.5. Real quick for you, Vinny, a few questions, and then we'll get the whiteboard and we'll get trivia, which I'm curious if you could get the trivia answer, actually. We'll ask you the question. JR, of course, already got it. Yes, already given out who got it, but we'll tell you that in a little bit. But Vinny, last weekend of the NBA season, where it's been a rocky regular season, to say the very least, for the league. But it is now the time where the betting numbers become a little more normalized to people that aren't just out there betting it every single day. And the scenario, too, where we get legitimate playoff games next week with the play-in tournament beginning on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, look, today, everybody plays today, right? So the East is pretty much determined. There are several spots in the West that are yet to be determined, right? And then, so you want to look at that, and also, what kind of stock do you put into the game that's going to really, even though does it really mean a lot? It's the Rockets and the Lakers, which is pretty much a playoff preview, right? So, are they really going to show each other a whole lot here? I don't know. I don't think so. These games here, from a bookmaking perspective, they're going to move very quickly because of that, right? So you've got the thing about today and throughout the weekend is to watch what kind of positioning or who's playing in or who's in, right? So because there's a lot of things at stake for positioning, right? Particularly in the West. You have to wonder, in the East, you look at the Knicks. The Knicks are winless against the Celtics and the Cavaliers. They've got the Cavaliers here. Now, you can always put into your thought process, well, it's the regular season, the playoffs are a whole new season. But psychologically, what does that do to a team, right? So the Knicks, again, they came close the other night, but again, they've not been able to show their ability to beat the two best teams in the conference, and that's probably going to have a carryover, at least psychologically, for them. So you want to watch a lot of the little subplots that are playing here, and look, there's some very big numbers out here today. Like the Celtics today, 19-point favorites. What kind of incentive do the Celtics have in this game, right? So that's the kind of things. Sometimes you just have to watch and see how teams are going into the playoffs next week.
Can I interest you in a 12-1 money line on the Charlotte Hornets, Alex, against the Boston Celtics?
It wouldn't lay it.
By the way, Hornets aren't even the biggest underdog on the board.
No,
tonight,
they're not.
Minnesota's 20.5 against Brooklyn.
Yes.
But Minnesota has a ton
Wow.
to play for. Again, now, Vinny, you mentioned it. That West is jumbled.
Yes.
4 through 8 separated by one game.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, there is a gigantic difference in all that seeding, obviously. 7 and 8 will have to play next week with the loser playing for their lives and playing for the right to play Oklahoma City in round one, no less.
Sometimes that helps a team, right, to get into playoff mode earlier, right, to get into that rhythm. Now, there's no more. The good thing about the playoffs too is hopefully, unless somebody's got a 3-0 lead in a series or as we get further into it, but this load management, you have a lot more information and clarity on who's playing and who's not playing. Absolutely.
Vinny, go to the trivia question. I want to see if Vinny gets the trivia question right. So the Masters, of course, which, by the way, I have a follow-up to this with that. There's the leaderboard, which is getting a lot of fun now. Justin Rose still your leader. DeChambeau's in second. Whoa. McIlroy's 5 under today. Scheffler, birdie number 2. Hovland's on there. Alberg's on. Oh, boy. Wow, what a good leaderboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now at the top in Augusta. So, Vinny, the Masters has happened annually at Augusta National since 1934, except for the 3 years during World War II, 43 through 45. What was Augusta National used for to aid the war effort from 43 to 45?
I think they played charity softball games amongst the armed forces.
I like your guess, actually.
Softball
The
on the
war
mind.
effort. It wasn't a factory. What exactly was it?
It was they turned it into a wartime farm.
Yeah.
They raised turkeys and cattle for the Army. JR said livestock, which
That's fair.
that counts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
JR got it right yet again in the trivia. And then Vinny, the follow-up to that before we get to the whiteboard here today, The action, obviously, is always the best of any golf tournament on the Masters.
It's number
because
one.
It's up for a very long time. And, of course, everyone rolls what they won on Monday night or what they didn't win on Monday night into the week ahead at Augusta.
The Masters has the familiarity too, right? So everybody has there's a lot of history to go by, right? When you look at the other three majors, the courses rotate and they're not at the same ones all year. You brought up a key point, Jeff, that the fact that you're booking the Masters anywhere, from 8 to 10 months, and the coverage that it gets. So the Masters is the number one wagered golf event, not only the majors, but any golf event during the course of the year. The U.S. Open follows that. It used to be the PGA was last, but now it's positioned, because it was going up against football, right? Preseason and things. But the Open, the British Open, and the PGA then come after that. But the Masters, it's like the it's like the Kentucky Derby, right? Everybody gets involved with the Masters, even if you're a novice, just to have something to cheer for, and the coverage is terrific. So yeah.
Except for Dwayne Colucci, apparently.
Right.
Dwayne said he's not much of a golf bettor.
Yeah, well.
What about you? Do you have any rooting interest? Maybe not even bets, but do you want to see anyone?
Part of a group, we had a little Masters draft the other night here in town. So there's I can put it to you this way: I need Xander Schauffele to play a hell of a lot better.
He's playing a lot better today.
I think he started off a lot better today than he did yesterday. So, yeah.
Well, and Rory yesterday started really good
until he got to 15 when he took a swim.
Yeah, and then now
15,
Rory is on 15 now. Again, 5 under par after that eagle on 13. Boy, again, it could be a hell of a weekend. Usually is at Augusta, but
it's great.
Boy, with this
is the best
that we get, it could be real good. All right, whiteboard. Want to do the whiteboard here on a Friday before we get out of here?
Yeah.
Got to.
Just a reminder for everyone, because this is the new schedule this week, moving forward. You'll see Alex and I Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. start time right here at the Sports by the Book channel. Consistently moving forward, that's our time slot. For any weekend-related thing, Ralph Sirocco is still here on Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m. on the South Point studio page, getting you ready for the week ahead on Race Day Las Vegas. Whiteboard time here to set us on our way for the weekend, and we kick it over to Alex White.
Okay, so I decided on 5 today, so unfortunately my Pirates under did not make the board. But I've got one hockey. We're going with Minnesota Wild and Calgary Flames under 5.5. The over of the day, Phillies and Cardinals over 7.5. I'm taking the Angels, getting plus money, see if they can keep this hot streak going. The Rays team total against the Braves over 4.5, and then Yankees minus 125 at home against the Giants.
Very good.
There we go. Quintuple here today for Alex White.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. A nice smorgasbord to get you ready for the weekend ahead. Vinny, pleasure as always.
Good work.
We'll see. We'll continuously see Vinny down here, as we know. Shout out to the whole crew: Drew Dog, Jerry, Sean, Brian, Vince, Ann. Pleasure as always. Great work getting it all set up down here. Alex, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Frozen Four also, by the way, final is BU and Western Michigan slight favorite right now. In that one, no plays for either of us, even though our guest Tim Whitehead yesterday did like Boston to end up winning the championship.
I think I do as well. Even money going with that Russian goalie there. He did a great job breaking down those 2 games for us yesterday.
There we go. We'll see you again on Monday right here at 10 a.m. Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.